It's August 14th, 2023. This is the best of Roqe. Hi there, welcome to episode 279 of Roqe. I'm Jian Ghomeshi. Hello to you from Toronto. Hello to you from Canada. Salam Dustan Aziz. Durud Bashama. Hope you're doing well wherever you are tuning in from around the world. We are on our ongoing mission to build a new audiovisual encyclopedia of Iranian diaspora identity. Today's episode is part of a Best of Roqe series we are bringing to you for the entire month of August, where we're looking back at some of our favorite interviews over the last 3.5 years since we launched, and some of our most moving or entertaining moments, and we're giving them to you. We've curated our faves, and we hope you check out these conversations, especially if you may have missed them the first time. Today, 2 interviews with 2 prominent young fighters of Iranian background who have remarkable stories of perseverance, of commitment, and finding success. Both of these interviews really blew us away at the time, as these 2 figures are really pillars of strength in overcoming adversity. First up, he has become one of the most buzzed about young fighters in the UK today, an Iranian refugee who is getting a lot of attention in the boxing ring. But the story of how Alireza Razor Ali Ghadiri got to England and climbed his way in the boxing world is the stuff of movies. His journey is a harrowing one, from tragedy as a small child, losing his family in a car crash, to living on the streets and gang life in Tehran as a teenager. But Ali found his way to asylum in the UK, and now, still in his early 20s, has fought at Wembley Arena and has an audience of support around the world. We bring you Razor Ali today. And then Pannie Kianzad, Iranian-Swedish mixed martial artist and the first and only Iranian-born woman to ever be signed by UFC, Ultimate Fighting Championship. She is passionate, powerful, and defied any old gender stereotypes while climbing her way to the top of the MMA world. Pannie Kianzad coming up as well. We are coming to you on roqemedia.com. It is there that you can link to all of our platforms. We're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Instagram, CastBox. If you'd like to see some visuals with Roqe, check us out on YouTube. And if you like your Roqe descriptions and bulletins in both Persian and in English, check us out on Telegram. Remember, to support our program, you can go to our website, roqemedia.com, and become a Roqe member on Patreon by pressing that Support Us button on the main page. We really appreciate it if you're a regular listener. roqemedia.com, or you can become a sponsor or advertiser on our program. Check out the links to how you can contact us at our website. All right, let's get started. All right, my first guest today on the Best of Roqe is a young professional boxer with a powerful story of perseverance that is kind of the stuff of movies. Alireza Razor Ali Ghadiri is an Iranian boxer based in London, England, who has built his story with hard work, determination, hope, and strength. He was born and raised in a perilous area of southern Tehran, where fighting was not a hobby, but a way of survival. He has quite a tragic backstory of a difficult childhood in Iran. He arrived in the UK still in his teens with little in his pocket, sought asylum, and lived on the streets of East London for quite some time. He's now 25 years old and is making a serious name for himself in the boxing world, regularly fighting in such venues as Wembley Arena in front of thousands of people and a global audience on satellite TV. Alireza Ghadiri, better known as Razor Ali, joined me from London, England. Here's our conversation. Hello, sir.
Hello, how are you? It's a pleasure. Thank you so much for the opportunity. It's always good to be around, tell the story to people, and inspire some people. So thank you for having me today.
Thank you so much for doing this. I mean, you are one of the highest regarded young fighters in the UK. Just off the top, how does that feel after all you've been through?
Dream come true. That's how it feels, dream come true. But I still got a very long way to go, make it to the top. I don't really feel like I have it all, because I'm really hungry. So there's a long way to go, but it feels good to be here because to be here one day was a dream.
Ali, you posted a photo of yourself a few days ago saying, just being happy. It says, I'm just being happy. And you look relaxed. You have a big smile in your fancy jacket with a guitar in the background. I mean, it was really nice to see after all you've been through, which we'll get into. But is that a face that you put on for social media, or do you really feel that happy these days?
No, no, no. I'm always happy. Like since I remember, like since being a little kid, I'm always happy. I'm always smiling, always smiling. It's just, as my friend always told me, happiness is a choice. So just want to be happy.
Your Instagram tagline is all hustle, no luck. Can you explain
That's
that?
right. Yes, yes. This just my mentality. Um, I'm a hustler. I call myself a hustler. Wake up every day. I hustle to make dream come true. In my life, nothing really been given to me, so I had to fight. So it's just all hustle and no luck, hard work, dedication, and everything you want, you can achieve. That's the only way there. If otherwise, like you got, I don't know. It's never been easy to come someone give it to you. It's never been like that for me.
Yeah. You do say that you appreciate each day when you wake up that you're alive. And that's quite something for a 24-year-old to say. I mean, there have been times in your life when each day was literally a matter of trying to survive, yes?
That's true. Yes. Still is the same. Sometimes I'm like asking myself, "Oh my God, my dream's too big." It scares me, and I'm just trying because for me, I want it all, and even like now, I have enough for myself. I'm like, oh no, it's a matter of surviving because I don't want this. But back in the day, it was a bit worse because it was different where I came from, the ghetto where I came from. Um, it was very different. It was just about to be alive, really to be alive, physically to be alive because you just fight on the street. I've seen my friends get stabbed and different things. So the journey to be here today, it was scary. I'm happy. Like every day I wake up, I'm going to the park for my running or by the canal when I run, see the water, see the beautiful sky. I'm like, as long as I can run, as long as I got two arms to fight,
Hmm.
as long as I breathe and I'm alive, anything I want, I can achieve. And my biggest dream is just to live every day, just being happy.
Well, listen, I want to talk to you a little bit about where you are now and certainly where you're going. But let's talk about where you come from because we've referenced it a couple of times. But and I know it's a difficult story, so I'm almost self-conscious about making you tell the story again. But just so folks know what you've been through. First of all, take us right back to being born in Tehran at the age of 2. Your dad and your mom divorced. Your dad was addicted to heroin. You were taken in by your grandparents. What can you tell us about what was happening with you at that very, very early age?
Um, it was tough time. Being in a really unstable family, and my father was heroin addicted. The environment in the house is not a good place for a child. Where I'm from is not safe for a child. So like you can be at home and you can be outside. It's just you feel like it's end of the world.
Mm.
You think, like some point you're gonna give up to the environment. But I personally think it's almost impossible to win against environment because how do you want to survive when your family, your parents are they just can't give it to you. Simple, they just can't give it to you.
Do you remember when you found out that or how you found out that your dad, I mean, you're a little kid, has some kind of addiction?
Well, when I started recognizing what's going on around me, like when I was 5, 6, seeing when my parents divorced, but like my mom said to me, your father is taking drug, and obviously like in the ghetto, everyone's taking drugs. So I knew what is drug in early age. So yes, I knew like my father is taking drug, heroin, and then when I was 6, I had a car crash and I lost my family, and the only person survived it was me and my grandpa. Um, Couple of times I mentioned in my interviews the only person survived it was me, but it was my grandpa as well. But my grandpa wasn't in the car; it was outside because he was trying to get the car fixed.
Yeah, this is a. Let me just ask you to tell this. I mean, this is an incredibly harrowing story. So you're already sort of displaced as a kid, as a product of what we've just talked about with your parents, and then there's a bunch of you in a car. Is this in Tehran?
This is we went to Qom. On the way back, we got punctured in the motorway, and it's like bunch of us, like our relative, my aunties. My aunties were like my parents, to be honest, because they were looking after me because there was no mom, there was no dad, grandpa, like or grandma, like really not there for me. So it was really my auntie. So I was really attached to them, and I saw them burned to death. And the only person survived, it was me. And then it was this car. They were drunk, two guys and one girl coming back from Qom to Tehran, and then they lost control and they literally drove into us. The car exploded, and like everybody literally burned. Everybody burned. I was burned. I was burned. All my face was burned, my hands, my legs.
You end up in hospital for weeks, right? Or
No, no, I was there for 3 months, as
three
my mother
months?
said.
Yeah.
I was too young to remember, but my mother said to me, "You were in the hospital for 3 months." So, but I had very special treatment. It was tough. I remember like I was getting unconscious because they were taking me to steam room, with a jet wash, try to scrub my face, you know. It was too painful. Just imagine right now you're just gonna burn your hand. I don't know, you're doing barbecue, burning your hand, how painful it is, and all my body's burned, and then not only that, they're scratching me. So it was difficult. All my life I've been fighting.
First of all, I'm so sorry that
Thank
you
you.
went through that. I mean, it is. One's heart goes out to you. Do you still see that vision of that burning car? Do you how do you even cope with? I mean, you've obviously you know figured this out in terms of moving on with your life, but it's a tremendously traumatic thing for it to happen to a kid.
Um, you believe me or not, I just don't know how did I get over it. I still don't know, you know. Like it's my question too. How do I not think about it? Maybe I was just too busy trying to survive, or my dream of being so happy was too big for me, or I really don't know, to be honest. Like because I know a lot of people go through not as much as me, and they just struggle for the rest of their life. I've seen with my eyes. I have
Hmm.
friends, and but I ask myself like, how do I not dream about it anymore? Or like, I don't know. I don't think about it. I
Do
just
you
don't
do you
think
have
about it.
PTSD? Do you wake up in a sweat thinking about
Yes,
it?
yeah. No, I don't wake up in sweat, but like, yes, I wake up very moody sometimes. And
Yeah.
my mood is not like, oh, someone made me upset. No, I just wake up for no reason,
Mm,
and I'm sad.
mm.
You know, I wake up for no reason. Not and a night before, a day before, I had the best time of my life. But I wake up and I'm very sad. I don't know that. Like, I think it's that one, you know. But I try to figure myself out when sometimes I wake up and I'm sad for no reason. I start praying, or I'm just looking for something to make me happy. I don't know. I just go buy myself flower, or I just listen to my
Mm.
favorite music, or I just go in my photos, look at my holidays picture, or whatever. I go to gym straight away to not think about it, because if I let it to grow in me, I would be one of those one. I would be wasted thinking about my problems all the time. Or why my father wanted to sell me for heroin, or why I lost my parents, or like,
Mm.
my family, or
Yeah, I should explain that the story is that you're in the hospital for months, and then your father. This is when you're 6 years old. Your father returns to pretty much kidnap you, right? He takes you into hiding and tries to sell you for drugs.
yes. He just came. It was one day. He was very high. He came. I remember, and then he asked my mom, "I'm gonna take Ali Reza." My mom was like, "No, you can't." I remember my mother said like, come on, you addicted yourself. How do you want to look after him? But in Iran back in the day, and still now is man's man country. So he literally took me. No one could do anything. He took me to the place called Shurabad. It's very close to Qom. He took me like it was like desert, a lot of the place they keep the cows and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Very scary place. I remember the details, to be honest. The place he took me there for 1 year I was there. Um, and then one day he literally, I could hear, because it was in little room, I could hear them. This couple, they came to get me from my father for money. And then I was very lucky. I was talking, I said, God, if you really exist and if you hear me, everything happened to me, but like, don't let this one happen, because the only thing I wanted was to go to my mom. But if they would buy me, I could never go to my mom. Like, and then I remember they didn't have the cash. My father, he wouldn't care about anything else. He just wanted the cash to go buy drug. So they didn't have the cash with them. They wanted to see me first and then go bring the cash. My father said, no, you don't have the money. You don't see him. Just give me the money, take the kid. And I was just hearing all this conversation, and I was thinking like, how can my own blood, my father, do this to his son? But like I went through this process in my life, and I've seen a lot of different people. Like when you taking drug, it's just nothing you can do. Now maybe because I forgave him, maybe I just say, I don't know, like I don't feel bad about him anymore. But like,
Needless to say, first of all, you were not. I'm guessing you weren't in school, right? Even when you were 6 or 7 years old. If your dad could.
yeah,
And do you know where your dad is now?
I think he's dead. Nobody knows. He disappeared when I was 9 years old. Last time I saw him, he was in his mother's house, my grandmother. And then he called my house. He said, listen, I'm here. Do you want to come and see me? I remember I had a gold chain. My mother said to me, please leave it at home because he's going to take it away from you. I said, no, he's not going to take it away from me. But I never hated my dad. That's the thing. That's a weird thing. I don't know why. I never, even when he wanted to sell me, I never even hated him. He was one of these very rare people in my life. I could never hate him. Even though when I would understand how does it feel to be in control by drug. So I said to my mother, no, I'm going to go see my dad and I'm not going to take my chain off. I trust him. My grandmother was like, you dumb. I said, no, no. So I remember I took my bicycle. It was a summer day. I went to the other grandmother. I saw my father. I was so happy to see him. And he hugged me so much. And that was the last time I saw my father when I was 9. He hugged me, he kissed me, and then I just went back home because I had to go to my grandmother because she would never let me go to my father's side. But I really resist that. I want to go see my father. And I'm delighted I went and I did it because that was the last. If I wouldn't go, I wouldn't see my father for last time. So I went there, I saw him. I was very keen to talk about big things, but I just saw him like any little kid seeing his father. And it was hard. But then in early age, I realized what doesn't kill me really makes me stronger. Like everything's happening to me. What can I do about it? I just want to be happy.
Well, Ali, you first of all, this is even just hard to hear, let alone what you've been through. So no one would blame you for, getting involved in gang life after this. By your early teens, from what I understand, you were involved in gangs. This is, I guess, about 10, 15 years ago in Iran. How would you describe gang life in Tehran when you were involved?
It's different. Like people for no reason want to fight each other. So I believe everywhere is the same. Like this area fighting the other's area for literally nonsense. They're just bunch of people have no purpose in their life and have no education. The only thing they can do is literally fighting each other, harming each other. I literally remember I was in my neighborhood from the other area. This guy came up to my friend. He was very handsome, tall, very confident. I was like maybe 5, 6 years old, younger than him. I literally remember that moment. Someone looked at his eyes, and then they started fighting. And then he literally stabbed the knife in his heart. He died. And then I was like, I couldn't get over it with my head, you know. That was like, my friend literally died there. The guy stabbed him in the heart. That simple. That simple. And the guy ran away, and nothing happened. They couldn't find him. They couldn't find him. It's so weird because that was when I was 15. Now I'm like 24. One of my friends called me, and we talked about it. I was like, they didn't get the guy still. And this guy had something very special about him, my friend. He just died like that. Like, you know how many kids like him die? Look, I'm here. I had the potential to be here. If I would be dead, if I would be stabbed, or if I wouldn't run away, this potential would be waste.
What area was this in Tehran?
Islam Shah. So many like me. Like, honestly, some. I remember I was going to this, like, to my gym. I was always the hardest worker in the gym, but I wasn't the most talented person. My coach, he used to always tell me, listen, look at, I always getting medals, trophies, stuff like that. I never forget my coach was telling me, listen, you're not the most talented, you're the most hard worker. They are they're much better than you. They have more talent than you, but they're all dead now, or they are drug addicted. So imagine if they would run away, if they had the chance to not be involved in that environment, imagine they could be someone better than me. They could be here, represent their country, represent their family, not go hurting each other, not going making troubles on the street. Because I wasn't the most talented person. That was so obvious to me.
Can I ask you? I mean, it's clear that you're not a drug addict now. How is it that you avoided that?
Obviously, when I see my father was heroin addicted, and the only thing my mother was telling me, she would never tell me, don't go and fight. She would never tell me, like, don't make trouble. But the only thing she was reminding me every day, don't take drugs. Don't take drugs. That was the only thing she would tell me every single day. I remember, like, I was coming home, blood was everywhere on my body. She knew I'm fighting on the street, this, that. That wasn't as big as if she would see me taking drug, you know. And she really, my mother worked so hard. I could see, like, she was my hero, literally working all day, all night, putting me in the classes, go, I don't know, do basketball, go do play football, like, just being a sport, you know. I had no choice. I had to be on the street because of many reasons that maybe not people will understand. Home wasn't a good place for me because in home, my situation was really worse than outside. Seeing people getting killed, I could take that, but I couldn't take to be home because my grandmother, like, she lost two of her daughters. She would hurt herself every day. And I couldn't see her screaming and crying, and then she had long nails, scratching her face. You know, this is like in the culture. I couldn't see that. That was really harder. You know, I really wanted to be on the street. That was better than home.
Ali, something happens around this time that is obviously a major part of the path that's led you to where you are today, which is that, I guess, fighting, kickboxing, martial arts, etc., becomes an outlet for you. And I think you were being modest a moment ago where you said, I wasn't the best, I wasn't that good. Because by the time you're in your mid-teens, you're competitively, as you say, you're winning medals and you're competing at an organized level. When did you know, or when did the people around you know that you got a real talent for this?
Since the first day I went to the gym. I never forget the first day I went to kickboxing gym. I was very little, only 8 years old. It was very old fashioned. everyone's sweating. I don't know how to punch. I remember I stood next to a very tall guy, and they showed me how to punch. All I could do, I was really hyped and really full of energy. Um, they taught me how to punch, how to fight. They took me to a fight. I really had this kid. We were both like 8 years old. He started crying. I won the fight, but they raised both of us hands, and then fight after fight after fight. Never lost any fight when I was back home, especially when I was younger. They couldn't really fight me. Since day one, like everyone knew like I got something in me. I think I was made for this, to fight.
Can I ask you a weird question? I mean, maybe I don't understand that. You're physically like you are not a huge guy, right? You're not super tall,
No,
and you're
I'm
not.
I'm a small guy.
So does it surprise people when they look at you and then they find out just how good a fighter you are?
Um, Sometimes yes, I really get this like because I'm not really big guy or my face doesn't look really angry or I don't have like Mike Tyson, boxer things
Right,
and
right,
stuff like that.
right.
So when I told them I'm a professional boxer, I showed them my tape, my videos and stuff. They're like, "Oh, I can't believe that." Yeah, it surprised people sometimes. Oh, I love colors. Like I wear pink. I go on the street. Like people like, "Are you a professional boxer?" I'm like, "Yes."
I mean, if it weren't for some of the tough guy tattoos, you kind of you look like an artistic Persian kid. Like you look like a guy who could be in a band or something. You don't really look like a.
I wish, I wish. I literally buy a piano because I really want to play music, instruments. Fighting is the other side of me. Fighting is really the other side of me. Like, believe me, when I go in the ring, I'm surprised by the person I become. It's not me. Like,
Well, that's interesting.
I don't know how. I just don't know how to describe it. Like, I just love the violence when I go in the ring. But when I'm getting out of the ring, I just want to have fun, peace, love.
Let me come back to that. Let me just hear about the how you end up finally leaving Iran, because there was an interview I saw you in where you said you could no longer stay in Tehran when you were 17 because the police were after you. Why were the police after you?
I was very crazy. Like I was doing stupid things now when I think about it. How someone could do that. I was going in my school. I'm ashamed to say that, but like I was going there saying there is no God, there is no Allah. Like they lying to us. And please don't come talk about religion to me because Sama language, I don't take shit. You come up to me, you say there is God. I I lost my family
Mm.
since age of 2. Like my parents divorced, um, been kidnapped on the streets, and so many other things. And you tell me there is a God? No, there is not a God. Uh-huh. So, and you go to school and they force you
Mm.
to read Quran. They force you, and I was like, no, like there is no God. You cannot say that in Iran. People really they don't dare to talk about these things, especially in like age of 15, standing on your wall in your school and shouting out loud, there is no God. God is dead. There is no God.
But I've got to tell you an amazing thing, which is that I've never heard you tell the details of this. So when I heard you say this in an interview, you're involved in gangs and the police were after you. I'm thinking that you're doing something nefarious, like you've stabbed someone or you've robbed something, you've robbed a bank or something. It turns out that you were just saying that there's no God.
No, no, I did things like I fought a lot, but I've been like police came after us to get us. But in Iran, you literally can pay anyone, especially my coach in Iran. He was from where I'm from. Like he was very well known. Every time I make trouble with one phone call, they would let us go. Um, but here is a free country. I'm man enough to talk about my thoughts, my opinion. I just want to respect people a bit more. It's not
I
about
got
like
you. I got you. But you also say things like you're a spiritual person and you say thanks God and things like that. So have you changed your position on religion, or do you just kind of?
oh no, I don't believe in God. I'm not religious. I'm very spiritual. I believe in energy. I believe in universe. I believe in karma. Like as Iranians say, as hard as but yes, that's me. I'm praying every day. Every day I pray to my God. to my energy.
Tell me about how you actually end up leaving Iran and ending up in London. Was it literally an escape, or how'd you get out?
I remember I was 15 years old. It was 2014. I went to a fight. They call it best of the best. I was very light. I was like maybe 55 kilogram. I took the fight. I was fighting a guy much bigger than me. I did really well. This promoter came up to me and said, "Listen, you're really good, you know. Do you want me to take you to China for a fight?" I was like, I don't say no to that, you know, that's an opportunity. So I went to China. I took my bag alone. I went to China. I couldn't speak in English, nothing. And I didn't know even who I'm fighting, you know. I went there, the guy was 26 years old, 3 times world champion. And then with confidence, I can say I was very strong in Iran. Like I would fight a man and I would have nothing less than them power wise.
Hmm.
I faced this guy. I went in a ring in front of like 30,000 people in the arena. I remember this champion came in the ring and he kicked me in my arm. You know, like in 2 seconds when I got hit, I thought to myself, please give up now because he's gonna smash you to pieces. He's gonna destroy you. And then I was like, no, no, it's not in my blood to give up. Let me just get destroyed in the ring, but I'm not gonna leave the ring, you know. So I lost the fight by the point. I survived for the whole rounds, and it was an amazing experience. I came home and I said to my mother, "Mom, I think I have to go because if I'm here, look, I'm fighting every day. I used to run away from home, and nobody knew where I am for literally a month. There was no phone to call me, nothing. Like my mother was like, is he alive? Where is he? Nobody knew where I am. I would run away, go to different cities, disappearing for a month. Um, didn't finish my education. Um, so my mom was like, I said, please give me some money, let me just go. And then my mom just gave me some money, whatever she had, she gave me. I remember it was midnight. I went to airport. I kissed my mother's hand and my grandmother. I said to them, listen, I leave. I don't know if I'm going to be alive or not because I don't know what's ahead for me, you know. Different culture, different country. I'm away smuggling myself to Europe. It's not like you're taking a plane, you go there, I'm smuggling myself. Anything can happen to me. Um, if I arrive and if I'm alive, I make you proud. And here we are today.
Wow, man! If there's first of all, if there's a smart investor listening right now, they should lay down a few $1,000,000 for the movie rights to your story because the more you talk, I think, oh my God, this is a feature film at the very least. You've said something quite remarkable, which is that, I mean, very telling, which is that when you arrived in London, so you're 18 years old. This is 2016. This is 6 years ago. You're an asylum seeker. You're in East London. You end up living on the streets, which would be for anyone else, harrowing in and of itself. You've said that even when you were living on the streets, you were happy because it was a safe place. What do you mean by that?
You just have to physically go to see where I'm from. That's the only way I can describe. I can tell you till tomorrow morning how bad is my ghetto or many ghetto in Tehran where I'm from, like different places. But you literally have to go there, physically see it with your eyes and sense it, how violent it is. I'm telling you, people get killed over the conversation. So how can East London on the street not be safe for me? Nobody want to fight for no reason. People are busy. They just need to pay their bills. They're happy. They got other problems. They're not coming to fight me. I'm sleeping on the street. No one tell me anything. And even people would just look at me, oh, look at this guy, like because I was very young to be homeless. Like other people, like you can see they're older, they're homeless, sleeping on the street. I was very young, but like I have a picture of myself when I show it to my friend, like my face. changed so much since like 2, 3 years ago. Like now I look like adult. I was very baby face even when I was 21. Imagine when I was like 18. I was so happy. I can describe. Honestly, I can describe. I had my smile coming to my ears. Um, so happy. I was going to gym and then get bruised in my eyes and I was bleeding and my t-shirt was wet and I had only like maybe two free t-shirt. Um, I still have my first t-shirt I bought in this country. My cousin bought it for me. I still have it in my wardrobe. I
By the
used to
way, by the
wear
way,
that.
by the way, you didn't speak the language, right? You didn't speak English,
No,
and you didn't have enough money for food. You're living on the streets. I mean, how did you even make it through from day to day? Or was it just that when you talk about that juxtaposition, that comparison to where you came from, it didn't even matter? You were just happy to be
no.
in a free place.
That's that. And also, you can leave me anywhere. I know how to survive.
Hmm.
It's just so natural to me to survive, you know? It really doesn't matter where I am. I know how to feed myself. I know how to protect myself. Um, and the rest is just okay, like you build up. Um, and I just had to work hard to make my dream come true. I remember I went to the gym. My friend from US, from Chicago, Ali, he WhatsApped me this place that for me is a professional boxing gym. Go there. I went there. I didn't know what's Google Map. I didn't know how to use it.
By the way, this is part of the incredible story. You're not a boxer yet at this point, right? When you arrive in the
Oh,
UK, you don't even have a boxing background. I mean, you've been a kickboxer, you've been a
yes.
fighter, but you're not really, the fact that you're one of the, most buzzed about boxers in the UK now is even more remarkable given that just a few years ago when you arrived, you had no experience boxing, right?
No, thank you for mentioning it because it's totally different. Boxing and kickboxing is like different ball game. It's like playing tennis and badminton. It's just different. Not because there is kickboxing is you're a boxer. That's why I had my face all bruised every day because I didn't know how to box.
Hmm.
I didn't know how to move. So I was literally a target. I would get any punch. I couldn't move my head. Coming home, my nose is bleeding. I got black eye everywhere. Um, and I'm like going to this place. I said, I want a box. They told me. I said to actually, I saw this guy after 5 years, couple of months ago. I said, do you remember me to that guy? He said, no, I don't remember you. I said, no, you're lying to me. You remember me because you're the guy. I came up to you 5 years ago. I said, I don't know how to box. I said, can I train here? You said to me, you have money? I said, no. You said to me, you have to clean the toilet. So I let you train in the gym. I'm the same guy. Look, I'm here today.
Hmm.
I told him in his face. But none of them really mattered to me. I just had a dream. When you have a dream, nothing matters to you. When you're hungry, nothing matters to you. Nothing really breaks you. You
But but
fight the world.
but when you go to, isn't it true that you went to this West Ham Boxing Club and they ask you, they go, okay, show us what you can do, and you end up sparring and you really don't know what you're doing, and but they come away impressed because they say, even though you don't know how to box, you know how to fight really well, right? That they
Yes, I
could.
went there. They said to me, "Okay, you want to box? Jump in the ring." Literally, like in the movies. Um, you want to box? Okay, jump in the ring. I said, "Okay, I jump in the ring, no problem." I jump in the ring. They were punching me, but I was punching them back, but no skills. And they was like, "He can fight. We have to teach him how to box." And the guy said to me, the coach said to me, Tony, he said to me, "Keep coming here. I see you tomorrow." I was so happy. Oh man, West Ham Boxing Club. Like they have history behind them. They want me to go back in there. Like I was like, they want me. Like I'll go make them proud. I went there. I worked so hard, but really put aside that they're not teaching me how to box because I don't know to call it racism, to call it was so many kids there. I wasn't the priority. I don't know what to call it, but they really didn't give me any attention. Um, I was hustling my own way to learn how to box. Um, so I just learned my craft every day. Whoever would do something good, I wanted to copy them. So okay, they do this, I have to do this. I was just a very good watcher, good listener.
You said a few minutes, maybe 10, 15 minutes ago, you were saying, you said that remarkable thing where you said, when I get in the boxing ring, I'm not me, I'm somebody else. And I said I wanted to come back to that. So let me ask you about that now. Who do you think you are when you're in that ring?
I feel so free. I feel I'm the happiest man that no one can really compare themselves to me, like happiness wise. I feel I'm the freest man in the world. This is so sad to say, but if I get a phone call, they say you lost your mother and I'm in a ring, I don't really pay attention to that. Like this big, nothing really matters to me. I'm really disconnected. And when I fight, it's just different. I don't know how to bring it to the word for you. Like I love the violence. I really love hurting that person in front of me. It's just like maybe I can take revenge. But when I'm out of that ring, I absolutely have no problem with anybody. I don't want to fight. I don't know. Maybe someone, maybe a scientist can figure this out. Honestly, I don't know. Like I'm in a ring. I just love to fight.
Well, when you say, that's, that laser focused kind of notion. I mean, that is, you mentioned Mike Tyson earlier. That was like Iron Mike. Like he gets in the ring and he can't, but there's a side of it that sounds a little scary too. That you really want to hurt the person. I mean, that maybe that is working out some of your past somehow or something. I don't know. I'm not a psychologist, but
I think so. I don't know. Like I remember from my last fight, it was in Wembley Arena. Every round, I'm coming to my corner. My coach sees me very frustrated. And then I'm like, I need to hurt him. I need to knock him out every round. And then by the end, like he had cut in his cheekbone. He had cut in his eyebrow. He needed stitches on his face. That bad I hurt him. But I was really not happy because I couldn't knock him out, because I didn't hurt him that bad for him to stop. I don't know why. Maybe it's the nature of the boxing business, or maybe it's just me. But because when I go in the ring, I just want to revenge for my
but
hard days.
in a way, if it is true that that's the only place where you act this out, it's actually extremely functional. like it's really impressive that you sort of can be this calm, logical, reasonable, rational and peaceful person who works out his issues in the ring. I mean, if you could do that, you win the key to life, right? I mean, that's really well done. I was going to ask you if you're angry. I mean, forget about the ring for a second. I mean, we have so many prominent Iranians who come on this show and talk about all the things that they had when they were a kid, the primacy of their education and the important degrees they got. And you come from a really tough neighborhood and you didn't really have the option to finish school at all. I mean, are there times, not in the boxing ring, where you are angry about privileged kids who have it all, about being denied opportunities that others have?
No, actually, I have a lot of very, very wealthy individual friends, and I have my mentor. I go to him every day. He always tell me actually this. He was born a billionaire, one of the richest man in Israel, and he's telling me like, how do you feel? I'm like, I just know it's not fair, but I don't really feel about your son. You don't really choose where you're born, which family, which place. I don't feel like angry about it. I feel hungry about it,
Hmm.
because I tell him like, your kid cannot survive, to be honest. If you die, if there is no money, what's going to happen to him? He can survive a day outside. Like you coming to me, begging me, taking your kid on the street, teaching him how to
Hmm.
survive. Like I can do that. You think I cannot be rich like you? Or but I'll be sometimes really upset. It's a lot of very basic things I didn't have in my life.
Yes.
I get upset not for, I don't know, money or like not having a lot of material things, but sometimes I really get upset because I couldn't spend time with my mother.
Mm.
Sometimes I'm really sad. Like when you go through this much, life has a different meaning to you. Like I never saw my father, and I'm 24 years old. I only spent 5 years of my life with my mother.
Mm.
What if I die tomorrow? Because there is not, oh no, don't say that. No, I survived a death. So it's different mentality. I just don't think the way no, I'm not talking about you, but I don't think like the way you think.
Mm-hmm.
Like we live, any person live on the edge every day.
But there's certainly a lot of adages or sayings, or that there's or affirmations where people say, if you've been through hell, you know that you can survive anything. And I get the sense that you really know that. You know that. I mean, you've said it. That you can survive anything. Most people in this world, I think, not to go too far into the sort of a tangent, but I think one of the motivational factors for a lot of people in this world is fear. Everyone's afraid of things. They're afraid of what others think. They're afraid this might happen. They're afraid that might happen. You kind of know that no matter what, you can survive, right? And it
Yeah.
feels like that confidence is in you because you've literally been through everything that the universe could throw at you.
Yes, everyone got a fear. Everyone like my fear is not surviving. My fear is one day to not be the best in the world,
Hmm.
not to be one of the greatest. That's my fear. Like I wish my fear was to survive or to make money or to have a place to sleep. I wish that was my fear. Like my fear is like when I'm older, I want my name to be mentioned like among best, like Muhammad Ali. Like
Why? I mean, it's admirable, but why do you want so badly to be the champion?
I believe that's the purpose I was born for that. Like,
Hmm.
and you ask this question from yourself, why everyone died in the car except me? There should be a purpose that I'm alive today. Why all my friends got stabbed and I didn't get stabbed even once?
Hmm.
Or why like that day, that family, they didn't have the money to give my father. So am I just here to run away from home and have a good life abroad in England? And is that the purpose I'm alive today? I don't think so. I think I'm here to give back to community. I need to be somebody to help some people. I need to be a world champion. I need to be one of the greatest people out there to be able to save some lives.
Who do you want to help?
Anybody deserve the help. Anybody I can give back.
Hmm.
We all have same right. Like it's your right to be happy. It's your right. It's everybody's right to live a good life. You're not born to live a miserable life. That's not the purpose you are born. You are born to enjoy every second of our life. And if it's not that, if the day I wake up and that's not my purpose, I'd rather die. I truly rather die.
Ali, I know your gym that you currently train at is in Finchley, in that northern part of London. There's a growing and large Persian community. Are they aware that there's this young star Iranian boxer in the hood?
Unfortunately, no. Unfortunately, I don't know a lot of Iranian, and it's a shame because again, I never had the opportunity to be around Iranian community because I was at the gym trying to hustle to learn how to box or trying to survive here. Or I always wanted to be part of the society here, so I had to speak English. So I was always around it, like English people, European people. But for my last fight, there were Iranian flag there. So because some Iranian came, honestly, it was different.
If you were to fight for a country right now, would it be for the UK? I mean, I don't even know the answer to that.
Um, I would fight for both flags, for UK and for Iran, because I tell you why. You can never get the fact away that I'm Iranian. For the rest of my life, I'm Iranian, and I'm proud of it. But I never forget as well, like in this country, I achieved my dreams. And this country made me a man. Like end of the day when I was in Iran, like worst come to worst, I would go back to my mother's house. This country made me a man. There was no more place for me. I stood on my feet. So this country made me a man. I love UK. I love these people. They had faith in me. They gave me opportunity.
Yes.
So
But by the way, though, I mean, just before we came to air, you told me you just ate Fesenjun. So obviously, you can take the kid out of southern Tehran, but you can't take southern Tehran out of the kid.
exactly,
you're still
that's it.
you're still chowing on Fesenjun at the first opportunity. You know, you're not eating a fish and
I'll
chips.
be an Iranian restaurant. If I have the chance, I want to have my kubi there.
Listen, I can't keep you forever. You've been so gracious. It's been a real treat to get to talk to you. Let me ask you a couple of last questions. One, are you making a living now being a boxer, or do you have to do other jobs still?
No, I'm making a living. I have my contract with the biggest sport agency in the world called Was a Man, and based in LA. And I can't wait to get my British passport to come live in US. To be honest, it is a big deal for me to live in a sunny country. I love UK, but I'm really fed up with London.
After all the nice things you just said about the country making you a man, you're like, first opportunity, I'm going to California, baby.
That's right. That's right.
All right. Hey, listen, a final question to you. Forgive me, I don't know. Is your mom still around?
Yes, my mom is still around.
Okay. Is she able to come and see you at Wembley?
I don't think so for the next fight, but my mother is in the process to move here forever to live with me, and I'm very delighted and very happy.
Really?
Yes, yes.
That's amazing. I mean, in terms of a happy ending or a place where this story goes, your mom must be incredibly proud of you and incredibly heartened that she enabled the conditions where you've been able to literally climb out of where you were at, right?
My dream is just to make my mother proud of me, my grandmother proud of me, my friends. You know, when I go to gym, there is a lot of people and I'm nobody. I'm just a hot prospect, as they say. I'm a hot prospect coming up, got the opportunity and the potential to be world champion. But when I go in the gym, you have to come and see. There is literally 5 photographers there. There is people with a camera, my friends all sitting, not going to work, spending their time, coming, sitting there and watch me train. Someone's drying me with a towel, someone's giving me water, and they all have faith in me. When I train, when I'm punching, honestly, I have no more power to punch. I'm exhausted. I'm in a really hard calorie deficit. I can't eat any food. I'm moody. The only thing truly want to do one day, one of those examples is you. Oh, I talked to Ali Reza. I made friend with him, and now he's a champion. I just want to make you proud. I just want to make my friends proud. You know, they come spend their energy and their time. Time is valuable. I understand this. They come help me. You know, they give me all the love and the support and the energy. My biggest dream is I just want to make my people proud, to be honest. You know, me being here, I already won. I don't want more. You know, I'm not in the ghetto. I'm making my living. I'm happy. I'm in a good place. I don't want more.
Do you have a place for where your mom is going to live when she comes?
Yes, I got a very beautiful penthouse on the 21st floor for my mother. And I'm counting. And I pay so much rent. And I'm like, Mom, please come quick because you need to see this place I got for you, you know. So I want you to live here for some time and then we can give it back, you know.
Have you told her that with all the excitement and love of her coming to the UK, you're going to take off to the US at your first opportunity?
I actually told her a couple of days ago, I said, Mom, by the time you're here, I'll get my passport and I'm gone forever. She's like, man, I'm coming to you. I'm like, so you stay here, enjoy the life in the UK. No, I mean, obviously here is always my home.
Yes.
Here is my base,
yes,
you know.
Yes.
But I want to come to US, be in the camp. I want to go. There is a lot, you know, boxing in the US is huge. maybe I can get a contract. But for next 3 years, I'm signed with my promoter company here. But after that, maybe I can sign with a bigger promoter in US. Again, as I said, I just want to dedicate my life to boxing and then be one of the greatest. And it's easy to say, but when you think about it and when you have to put the work in, it's like, it really scares me, my dream. But then if I made it here, I can make it to the rest, you know.
Hey, Reza Ali Reza Ghadiri, it's been a real pleasure, man, and actually an inspiration. I really, really appreciate you, and I appreciate the good that you want to do, and I look forward to watching it and to staying in touch.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure for me to be here. And thanks for hearing my story and sharing it with other people. I hope one day I can inspire. It doesn't need to be many people, even one person, because I know that person will give it to someone else, and that's how this circle get bigger and bigger. I want to my Iranian people to hear, just please don't give up. It doesn't matter how hard it is, you know, just fight for your dreams, because dream can be one day your memory, you know, and it happened to me.
I can tell you a lot of people are listening to this around the world right now, and you'll likely hear from them, and you really are an inspiration. Talk soon, brother. Take care of yourself. Merci.
Thank you. خواهش میکنم. Thank you for the opportunity. I hope you enjoy the rest of the, I think it's day there, right?
Yes, it's
Rest
something
of
like
the
that.
It's about to get dark here. It's already dark.
Khodafis.
Khodafis.
This is Roqe episode 279. Our next guest on the Best of Roqe today is an Iranian-Swedish mixed martial artist who has had tremendous success as an athlete and as a fighter. Pannie Kianzad is the first and only Iranian-born woman ever to be signed by UFC. That's the Ultimate Fighting Championship in the women's bantamweight division. Pannie was born in Ahvaz. Her family immigrated to Sweden when she was only a year old. She started her career in boxing at the age of 13, and she knew she had found her passion. Pannie knew exactly what she wanted. She became the 2011 Swedish national featherweight shoot fighting champion at the age of 19. She also fought in Invicta FC and Cage Warriors, where she held the bantamweight title. Pannie is currently in the top ranking of the UFC women's bantamweight list. It's big-time stuff, and at the time of this interview, she'd just come off a unanimous decision win in Las Vegas. Pannie Kianzad joined me from Stockholm, Sweden for this chat. Here's our conversation. Hello.
Hey, how are you?
I'm very well. It's good to have you on the program.
Thanks.
Do I call you Pannie or Banzai?
No, I like Banzai, but Pannie is okay for now.
how and when did you get the nickname Banzai?
I was an amateur and I was training with an old boxing coach, and he said that Banzai was something that the Japanese called out before they went to war.
That's right.
And I mean, it suited me and it suits my name. So
it's like a warrior cry, right? It's like bombs away.
Yeah, it means leave no survivors. So it's pretty cool.
And is that your mantra? Or I guess you are kind of a warrior, right?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people say that fighters are like warriors, but I just like how the name, how the fighting name goes well with the rest of my name.
Pannie, and by the way, I'm doing the American version of Pannie rather than Pawnee.
Yeah.
And is Pawnee is like a short form of like Ponta or something? Is it?
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah.
I was guessing.
Yeah, it is. But the thing is that Europeans don't get it. You know, it's only Iranians. Like if I would live in Iran, I don't think I would ever call myself Pannie. I think it would just be Panzai, but it's just that they don't get it over here.
Right, right.
My parents called me that when I was younger, so it's just really easier to get by.
Yeah, it's more of it's got a good Hollywood quality about it, Pannie, you know, like, yeah,
fine.
It works. Listen, I have to start by asking you, you're probably so involved in it that this question might not even mean anything to you, but I was thinking about you, and I was thinking about your Iranian background, and, you know, Iranians are very, I mean, one hates to generalize, but very, very hassas about how we look, you know. I mean, it's the nose surgery capital of the world, or one of them, you know, and everybody does, you know, cares about their women put on a lot of makeup, or they get work done, or whatever. That's not something. It occurs to me that you can really afford to worry about in your sport, right? You can't like go into a fight worrying about how your face is going to look at the end of it or something. Tell me how you manage those expectations of yourself.
I mean, of course, I like to take care of myself. I mean, I'm not into all that plastic surgery stuff. I definitely want to fix my nose when I'm done. Not like the appearance side of it, just that I can breathe. I haven't been able to breathe for 10 years. That's the only thing I want to do when I'm done. But when it comes to looks, I mean, I had this problem with my mom for like over 17 years. It's been like, oh, your face. I'm like, I wasn't that pretty to begin with. So I'm trying to tell her that I'm not fucking things up too much, you know? But yeah, I mean, a lot of people, like, I haven't even thought about that. I know that a lot of the women look really good, Iranian women, that they care of themselves and everything. I just like never thought about it like that. I always had like a boxer nose since I was little, and you know, the ears thing, you know, the wrestling ears. But I find it that a lot of the Iranians that write me, they think it's, you know, they don't care. Maybe even they think it's kind of cool looking, but
well, I think first of all, I think it's awesome that you don't think about that. Really, I didn't mean to suggest that you should. And
I haven't even thought about that, but now maybe I should think.
No, please. And also, I don't know who says you're not pretty. I mean, I wouldn't say that. I certainly wouldn't say that. But this thing about not being able to breathe, was that from a fight? Did something happen to your nose?
Yeah, it's just like I don't know what's it called in English, but like the actual breathing holes, like the nose thing here.
Nostrils?
Yeah, exactly. Like the kind of the bone inside here, it got like, it's going this way. So if you look into my nostrils, you can see it, one of the sides is totally blocked. It's because the bone has moved from my knee from a fight. And I think it happened like a lot of years ago, but then I broke it the first time when I was like 15, and it's never been the same. I can't breathe like through it. So when I sleep, I have to put like these like bandages over here. That works pretty good. But yeah, that's the only thing I want to fix. I haven't never thought about like fixing my nose, because even though if I'm gonna quit fighting, I will probably still want to train, and I don't want to fuck it up, you know. So I'm never thinking about like the cosmetic stuff, because I have a huge scar of my nose, of the bridge of my nose here.
I didn't know that. Right. Okay.
Yeah, it's a huge scar over. So maybe I will fix some of those stuff, but it's nothing that, you know, that I'm concerned about at all. Actually, if it would be something I would think about, is to like, when I'm done fighting, it will be just like my physical appearance, to just like stay in shape, you know.
Right, sure.
That's the only thing.
Right.
Nothing else.
So take me back to how this all happened for you. You're this baby, this kid from Ahvaz. Your parents move to Sweden 30 years ago. When did you first get the sense that being an athlete and being a fighter was something that you had in you?
I mean, I started swimming a lot when I was like 5, 6 in Sweden. My mom put me and my brother into swim classes, and I was failing like so bad. I couldn't even take a brand, like one of those like things you get after like achieving a couple goals. Like I couldn't even.
Not a good swimmer. Okay.
No, I was a good swimmer. That's the thing. So when my brother got those, he got those, and I got really pissed, and I got like, okay, I want those too, you know. So I started to try harder, and I actually became a good swimmer uh, because he stopped swimming, and I continued. And you know, my mom is just like super, not super Persian, but she's definitely the more traditional of all of us.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the rest of my family are not traditional at all. If you would met my dad, it would be, you know, weird because he's like the least religious, the least, you know, he's just a normal dude, you know.
Okay.
My mom is like, when I turned like 11, 12, I started to, you know, I started to get pretty toned. I'm not a small person. I'm like 5'7", and I weigh like 160.
Sorry, 1 second. Do you come from an athletic family? Like, are your parents very athletic? Was that something that came
My
naturally?
dad was, not
Okay.
my mom. My older brother and sister were pretty athletic when they were younger, not after like 18.
Okay.
But my mom was like, she was like, when she see me getting like more toned, more buff, and you know what does swimming do? They make you look a lot bigger, you know, pretty toned, like upper body, and
Right,
pretty
right.
wide.
You're broad.
So
Yeah.
so I started to get like pretty broad, and you know, I was training from like the age of 5 to 11, pretty hard, and she was like, "You're getting broad shoulders. Maybe you should stop swimming. You know, this like Persian thing, small. You should be like super tiny."
Little did she know what was to come with the.
She doesn't know that this is all her fault.
She
Because
probably
when
knows, but
she-
go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, so when she started saying that, I was like, "I'll show you. I will go start boxing instead, just because."
Was that really?
So,
was that really part of
yeah,
the consideration?
Yeah. So
Wow.
I found like because I always been this since I was a kid. I was always like, because when we were in Iran and everything, I was like 11-ish when I was in Iran. I've always been since I was a kid like super feministist. You know, I've always been like, why do you think you're better than me because you're a dude? You know.
Right. Wait, what do you
I've
mean you were
always been like,
11 when you were in Iran? I thought you left when you were 1.
no, but we went back. That was my first time that I went back.
Okay. Okay. Right.
Yeah, so I was visiting for 2 months, and I always been this person that, because I'm brought up in Sweden, I've never seen the difference between girls and boys.
Right.
Because for me, it was like, what's the difference? Just, you know, just their parents and everything. And when they try to tell us, like when we were there, okay, you're a girl, you should do this, you should wear it. I was like, I don't get this. I just like, because maybe they thought I was stupid, but I was like, I don't get it. And then when my mom told me that, yeah, maybe you should stop swimming, you're getting pretty broad shoulders, you're starting to look like really dude, you know? And then I was like, okay, then I will stop boxing. Just because I'm going to show you that I don't care. And then I went to a local boxing gym, but then, you know, I always been interested in individual sports. That's why
were you good at boxing right away? I mean, it's was it obvious that this is going to be something that you're going to be really, really good at?
I was pretty good as a youth. I was really good, actually. I started competing just a few months after, because when you're that young, you're learning like really quickly. When I was only 13 when I started, so I think I did like 25 fights before I quit. I was really good as a youth, but when I came into like a junior and then senior, it started getting really a lot harder. I wasn't from a really good team, and I tried to like, I was only 16 by then, and I tried to like switch teams and everything, but it didn't work out really good. And by the age of 18, I did like my last senior fight, and then I just like didn't like it anymore because I didn't feel I was getting better and I wasn't getting any help. So, but I made like some national team trainings with the Swedish national team as a youth. About that time, when I was 18, I started finding MMA and wrestling and everything. So I just like slowly left boxing and just stopped doing boxing completely.
A couple of steps back. I know you live in Malmo now, which is in the south. It's close to Denmark, close to Copenhagen.
Yeah.
And it's a pretty big city. But when you guys first moved to Sweden, you were in a small town or a small city, right?
So, yeah, just a smaller city, Helsingborg. It's just like 40 minutes away from Malmo.
Okay. What did the kids make of, I mean, especially once you start boxing, I mean, what did people make of you, this girl with the Iranian parents living in a smaller town in Sweden and becoming this boxer and the national team? I mean, how did other kids treat you or think of you?
I mean, I don't think anybody has been enjoying school or classmates or anybody.
I hear you.
But what I felt after I started training and getting like super excited about training and nothing else, besides school and training, the bullying stopped because I guess they noticed that I didn't, care anymore because I had my mind focused on something else. And I started to get more, confident because I was getting in a lot better shape as, a teenage girl. When you're like 14, you start getting 15. Okay, you starting to, feel better about yourself. So I guess that was a good thing for me, especially coming kind of from a small town and everything. That helped me in school a lot.
Pannie, when does it go from something you do in extracurricular in your after school or on the weekends, or to something that you were focusing every day on in a big way?
I mean, it wasn't supposed to be like this, because when I started doing MMA at the age of 18, this was 2010, we didn't have that much MMA in Sweden. We have a couple of pros in Stockholm. And I wasn't planning to be a pro. I wasn't planning to, compete like in MMA. Because when I switched over from boxing, from doing that my whole teenage years, I wasn't expecting to, do anything in MMA. Because first of all, we only had 2 females in Sweden that done pro, but they were like a bit older and they were gonna quit. And I mean, I could see that they weren't getting any attention. And compared to the States, MMA for women in Sweden was like non-existing.
But by 2014 and thereafter, you're winning fights and stuff. I mean, I can only imagine that you were training a lot, right? This isn't something you could do in your spare time kind of thing.
No, so from when I was 17, 18 until 28, I was training full time and I was working full time.
Wow. Right.
Because by then I wasn't making enough money to live out of my sport, and I didn't get my first paying sponsor until 2019.
And when did you sign with UFC?
2019.
Right. That's a whole other level, right? Like to be a UFC fighter, suddenly you have international recognition, you have credibility, all of that, right?
Yeah, and it's a shame because I was fighting a lot earlier than that, and I was doing a lot of big fights before that. But, I went pro at 2012. By then I understood that, okay, I'm not going to make money until later on. So I was still like working my ass off. I was still working full time. At one point I had like 3 jobs and training full time. So
what were the jobs? What would you do while you were training?
I used to work as a car painter. Back from school, I used to work as a car painter in one of my dad's shops. Actually, I was pretty lucky to get a job there. And I was working security at night, and then I was working my last 7 years. I did assistant nursing at night. By then, I was quitting bouncing because the nursing job paid better, and I had a few years that I worked like as a tutor in high school as well. So.
It's quite a collection of jobs: car painting, security, nursing. You're covering various professions.
My last 7 years was like only night jobs, just because it was easier to handle my training. So.
How does I'm going to ask you a bit about your mom and your parents and how they adjusted to your career choice, but tell me about how that signing happened. It seems so huge. Did they come and scout you, and is it a process that happens? You don't
know my story with the UFC.
Tell me.
It's been such up and down. So I applied for the first Ultimate Fighter ever for women in 2013, a year after I done my pro debut. I actually got in, and this was when Rousey and Misha Tate were coaches. I don't know how much you know about the Ultimate Fighter, but
Well,
it's a
Ronda
pretty big
Rousey, people know. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so, but I got in the Ultimate Fighter at 2013, got sick, so I couldn't participate. The years went by, I kept fighting, and then I got into the Ultimate Fighter 28 at 2018. So I was in the house fighting in there in Vegas. I got to the finals. That was pretty big for being like the first ever Swedish fighter to come to a final. I lost the final, and I was kind of surprised that UFC didn't sign me, because usually when you participate in the Ultimate Fighter, the two finals always get a contract. But surprisingly, I didn't get a contract, and I was already like 15 pro fights in. So that was a lot of pro fights. So I went back home, and I was like, fuck, this is the end. You know, I've been fighting for a long time now. This was 2018, and I was getting pretty, you know, sick of it, kind of. Because I was like, okay, so if the biggest league like in the world when it comes to MMA didn't sign me when they had this perfect opportunity,
Right.
and I was already fighting for them, and they kind of cut me, and I felt like, shit, this is gonna take, I know how this works, and it takes a lot to get signed again.
Sorry, why
You know,
didn't they sign you? I don't get it.
I don't get it either. So that's
Okay.
that's my long story with
Right,
them. So we don't really know, actually. So if you compare me to like a lot of other girls, I had the most fights on the roster. I had the most like professional fights, and a good record as well. So for me, it was kind of like shocking. I was like, you know, first I was like, I hate the UFC, I never want to fight again. And so I actually didn't. Like, I was training and everything, and then in Stockholm, I got offered a fight in Stockholm, and I was kind of pissed to fight at home, because I was like, I'm UFC material. I'm not gonna fight at a local, you know, event, because I was so pissed.
Right.
But they found me a pretty good opponent that was has been fighting in big organizations and everything. So I beat her, and then after that, you know, the UFC was still not interested in me. The weeks went by, and I went off my night shift, and I actually got a call to fight on the John Jones card in 2019. So that's when I got my contract. It was kind of a show to them too, like, you should have signed me from the beginning, but this is fine too, you know.
Yeah.
This is okay too. So yeah, first ever Persian female to get signed by UFC. We had a couple guys, Reza Madadi, and I am pretty sure it was one more, but I can't remember.
Well, that's, it's amazing. I mean, it's really, tell me, just let me ask you a couple of questions about being a fighter. First of all, a very simple one. I mean, what do you love about it? I mean, why is this such a passion for you?
I mean, first it came from being this cool thing that not many people do. You know, when I started, it wasn't really a big thing in Sweden. A couple of people were doing, like, you know, pro fights. We had Alexander Gustafsson and everything, and you know, but then it became like a thing. Okay, I was like thinking about it. I'm like, shit, there's not many Swedish MMA like female fighters, and I think I could be really good at this, you know. And then, you know, a training maniac. I always loved training, even though if I'm not gonna fight and everything. I mean, I'm living like the absolute disciplined, dedicated life of like, I always train twice a day, even though if I have a fight or not. It's just like my job. When I was a kid, I always wanted to be an athlete, and it just happened to be MMA.
How long do you train for when you train twice a day?
1 hour in the morning, maybe 2 hours in the evening. Totally depends. Basically, my whole day, it just is about training, recovering, eating.
Do you have to police your diet a lot, or is it?
Yeah, definitely. Especially now when I'm injured, it's even more important for me not to get fat. No, but just I'm scheduling my diet, because the most important thing is that for me to get like good food in my body, or else I can't like perform. I mean, I can have a shitty day of training if I've been eating shit. So then I can't like perform to my fullest.
You did an interview once where they asked you what your favorite food is, and you said your mother's Persian food.
Olivia. There's not much of that.
Yeah, you can't. I was thinking, which koreshta are you allowed to eat before the fight?
No, shit. No, the only time I eat my mom's food basically nowadays is just like after, maybe on weekends or after a fight. I can't eat that food all the time, but that won't work.
You're killing me. I do eat it as much as I can, and I know I probably shouldn't for those reasons. But,
it's because I know myself, and I know after all these years, I know my body, and I know that diet, like for fights, it will be so much easier if I don't eat that food. So,
right. What, in your view, makes a great fighter?
Two things, I think. Three things. Discipline, heart, and cardio. So discipline enough to be able to do the cardio. Because I think for a fighter, conditioning wise is the most important thing. You can forget about technique and strength, because
you
if you don't have the cardio,
you got to be able to last. Is that what that is?
Yeah, of course. I mean, because I can definitely outbeat somebody that's better than me technically, because if she doesn't have the energy for it, I'm definitely gonna beat her. And hard, yeah, because you have to love to do it, and sometimes you have to dig deep. So,
can you tell me a bit about your mindset when you go into a fight? You know, we've had a few actually very accomplished female Iranian martial arts champions, right? We've had Farinaz Alari and Nassim Varasteh, but that's karate. And you know, I asked someone like Nassim, well, what is it like when you go into a fight? And that's all about discipline in terms of controlling yourself. I don't know about in MMA. I mean, it looks so raw. You know, tell me a bit about the mindset when you go into a fight. Are you in it to kill, or do you have to maintain that discipline, or how do you psych yourself up?
I mean, for us, is the most important thing to be aggressive, but like you said, controlled, because you can't go in there wild and just swinging, or else anybody on the streets could be able to be in an MMA fight. I mean, you have to be a really smart person. You have to be a smart fighter to be a good MMA fighter. It looks raw and everything, but it's a lot of technique. And I'm guessing for me, it's like a lot of like calmness, because you have so much loud things around you, like around the cage and everything. And, you know, people are there to, you know, see blood and everything. So it's easy to get really, you know, nervous and kind of like, like pretty stiff. So for me, it's more like to be relaxed. And when people ask me if I get nervous, I'm like, yeah, of course I get nervous. It feels like I'm gonna, you know, piss my pants sometimes when I go in there, but it feels I always try to feel like everybody are here to see me. So everybody are here to see me perform. So I'm trying to enjoy the moment.
Are you thinking technique the whole time, or have you done?
I do. That's my problem. I think too much. I think too much. Like, well, it's not a problem, but I'm always thinking like in my head, step by step, and that's a good thing, because I'm not really that reckless as a fighter. I actually have people that told me, you know, coaches that told me you need to be more reckless, but I'm just like, I don't do reckless. I'm a good technician, you know. I'm really good at, you know, what I do, and I don't get reckless, but I could. You just need to know when to turn it off and turn it on.
You've got an amazing record. I mean, you know, you've only ever been knocked out once in your career, right?
Yeah. I only be TKO'd once, but yeah, I have a lot of fights, and you know, I have one of the most like biggest records in Scandinavia. So I've been fighting a lot. What
if, I mean, no Tarov, you know, the show's called Roqe, Be Blunt, you know, what is it that you think makes you so good?
I put in a lot of time, to be honest, but I'm really disciplined. You know, for me, even though I injured myself, and I mean, I was in the gym the day after doing what I could do, you know, training is not always fun. Sometimes you feel like, shit, I do not want to train. I don't want to spar today. I don't want to do anything today, but it's just like a part of it. And just because I always had a dream when I was a kid that I wanted to be a good athlete. And I mean, now I get the chance to live like a full athlete dream, to be
Yeah.
training every day. I mean, I'm trying to, take advantage of that. And especially when I got into the UFC, because I've seen a lot of teammates, I've seen a lot of friends come into the UFC, and what they do when they go in there is that they kind of relax. They sign the contract, and maybe they fight, maybe they win, maybe they don't win, but they relax. They're like, okay, I reached the peak of my career. Now I'm gonna chill. And that's the problem, is that you haven't reached anything just because you signed your first contract to come into the UFC. You reach your peak when you're a champion in your weight class and you decide to quit. That's when you reach your peak. When I got into UFC, I went up to the management, like to the matchmakers, and said, you will not regret signing me, and I'm gonna win all my fights. That's what I did. So
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
And even when you were injured, that what you tweeted was, "Don't worry, I'm still going to become number one."
Yeah, I am gonna be number. And that's the funny thing. Like when I say that, some people laugh at me. I'm like, yeah, this is gonna be hilarious in a few years. This is gonna be super fun.
I'm so grateful. I know it's late there in Stockholm, and I'm really grateful that you're making the time for us. Thanks for doing this. Before I let you go, let me ask you about identity before I let you go, because no Iranian around the world that's going to miss this. When you are out there publicly, it's no surprise that you're repping Sweden because you grew up in Sweden. You've been there for 29 years of your life. But you also always have an Iranian flag. You always talk about being Iranian. You're very proud of your Persian background, and you wear it very publicly despite leaving Iran when you were only a year old. Why do you feel such a profound impulse to identify as Iranian?
You should never forget where you came from and everything. And I mean, I always had like an Iranian background, and I'm not really repping, only Iran, like the country. I'm repping like people. It's not like, this is the best country in the world. Because let's be honest, it's not. It's not the best country to live in, but it's just like where my parents came from. Because Iran was a free country when my parents grew up. And they tried to make the best out of it for us. And I'm really happy that they took us to Sweden. Really happy about that. But I'm never going to forget, like, I'm repping Iran, and I mean the Iranian flag, just because people, and I want them to know that I'm proud to be an Iranian woman. And
you might have a little more trouble getting into UFC if you were still in Iran.
Yeah, exactly. That wouldn't even happen because women, I don't even know if, like, even though that I can't walk in with my flag in the UFC fights because of the Shiro Khorshid.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about it. Let me explain that. You usually have the Shiro Khorshid flag, which is the lion and sun flag, which is all through from the Qajar to the Pahlavi eras, etc. You have it on you or near you. You even have one I noticed on your car. You have a Shiro Khorshid.
It was my sponsor. When he gave me the car, he put a Swedish flag, and he actually took the right flag without me telling him. Wow. I don't even know how he did that.
But why? Tell me why it's important for you to have that flag, and why it causes trouble, or why you can't bring it in when you're fighting.
First of all, it's not approved by the UN, the flag, anymore, because it's an old flag.
Right.
You can't have it in Iran because they have the Islamic flag, right?
Right.
And the Islamic flag is nothing that I stand for. Nothing. It doesn't make any sense for me. I remember I was doing my pro debut, and I asked my dad, can you give me an Iranian flag? And, my dad is the right person to ask. So he's like, yeah, I have to fix that one. It's going to take some time. I'm like, why don't you just, how hard can it be? And then he came and he gave me the flag, and he gave me the one with the lion, and that's when he explained to me. I was like, yeah, that was good that you gave me the flag, or else I would have gone the wrong flag. That's why I can't walk in with it.
I mean, maybe I'm being naive, but who's noticing this I
think just because the flag is not approved, I don't think they want any trouble.
I see.
And it's shown on TV and everything.
Of
It's
course.
weird.
Right,
but when I was on Ultimate Fighter, they didn't say anything. I just walked in with it. Yeah, I always repping the two flags because I've been in Sweden most of my life.
Mm.
So,
Pannie, do you hear from people on social media from Iran? I mean, I'm sure people around the world Iranians are aware of you, especially because you wear that so proudly. What do you hear from Iranians, and how does that affect you? How does it make you feel?
I mean, I basically hear only good stuff, and if I look on a statistic, my biggest fans is actually Iran, by far the greatest, like even more than the Swedish ones. So I have the most fans in Iran, the States, and then actually last week. It's a smaller country, so
right, a much smaller country. Yeah.
So I get a lot of good response from Iran. And there's sometimes some guys writing something in Farsi that you have to translate, and then you're like, ugh, I don't give a fuck. So yeah, I don't care.
That's clear. Yeah.
Yeah.
And tell me about your parents. I mean, I'm now you got me curious about your mom, since
my mom is special.
It is to her that you owe your career as a what went from a rebellious antic to a career for you. How does she feel? They've got to be proud of you as in the discipline you've shown, and the champion you've become. And talk to me about that.
My mom is proud and everything, but she still doesn't like the actual fighting. But my dad has been my biggest supporter for all years. When I was about to quit and everything, he was the one that made me to not quit, because he used to be an athlete, so he gets it. And he's always been like that. No marriage, no this, no that. You just focus on career, only sports. He's always been like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty. You're lucky to have him.
Yeah, because I know a lot of like close friends that have problems with that stuff.
Yeah.
When it comes to even now, like 2022.
I don't know if I'm out of date, but you, a couple of years ago at least, you had a boyfriend who was also a fighter. You guys still together?
No.
Oh. I like how you had to think about it. You weren't sure.
No. I mean, I have a boyfriend now since like 6 years back. If it's that guy you mean. So,
no, it was a guy. It was like a couple of years ago. There was some documentary that was about you, and your boyfriend was in it as well.
Yeah, that's Elias. Yeah, that's him.
Okay, but
yeah, that's him.
So you can find love amongst the fighting community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We met in training. He's originally from Kosovo. And we actually came to Sweden the same year. So in 93. He fights too, and he helps me in my training and my camp and everything.
Right. So. Do you know something that I thought was amazing about you, that your favorite band, or one of your favorite bands, is Pantera?
Yeah, I love Pantera.
It's just like so out of it's like an 80s heavy rock band, which was way before your time. I mean, I know who Pantera are, but I don't even know, how did you discover Pantera?
Because I was a metalhead when I was a teenager. I was going around all Sweden to watch metal concerts. And just because I stopped going to concerts because my training started to get more serious than anything else.
It makes me really, really like you. The first Iranian girl I found who was a Pantera fan.
Yeah, but
who would name check Pantera as their favorite band. I mean, it's very fun for me. I
have a Persian metal band that's been following me for a long time, and I can't remember the name now. But they're
Are they from
Persian
LA?
Metal.
Are they that LA metal band?
I have to check because I don't know, but they do Persian metal, so that's pretty cool.
That is cool. That is cool. Yeah, that's who you should be repping. Find the Persian metal band and promote them. That's it's great to talk to you. Tell me about if we chat again. I mean, in an interview format. Hopefully, we'll chat many times, and I can't wait to see you fight live. But if I interview you, say 5 years from now, what do you hope you will have accomplished in your fighting career at that point?
UFC champ, 135 pounds, definitely. 5 years, earlier, but we can chat about it in 5 years.
We'll chat about it earlier. I'm looking forward to it.
Nice.
Congratulations on all that you've done.
You.
Take care of yourself. Get better.
Thank you so much for the chat.
It's been fantastic. I hope we do it again. Thanks for taking the time.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye-bye. That's a conversation with Pannie Banzai Kianzad. She was in Stockholm, Sweden. And this is full time for the Best of Roqe today. For all things Roqe related, roqemedia.com is the place to go. That's where all of our previous episodes are, our funnies, our videos, all of our programming, roqemedia.com. We're going to give you the Best of Roqe every Monday and Thursday throughout August. Back to our new programming starting in the first week of September. Thanks to the amazing team who put this show together. Smart Pega, Talented Anahita, Bearded Omid, Savvy Roham, Super Parisa, Sound Person Louise. Thank you to all of you out there for supporting us and sharing our content. Please do subscribe on any or all of our platforms if you've not done so already. You can find me on Instagram at Jian Ghomeshi. In the meantime, Mizun Bashi.